Hey, what's happening? Welcome to Skull Session. This is episode 14. We are back with Jake Mays talking about some after holiday fitness and what we can do to keep it going. And we got my boy Rich Tierney here. And welcome everybody.
Hey, everybody. Yeah, we've got our friend of the show, Jake Mays, on from Jake's Coaching. We had him on before the holidays doing a blurb to get us all ready for going into eating and drinking like savages and Vikings. And now we're getting ready in Texas here, you wouldn't think it's going to be hot anytime soon because it's freezing cold today, but
Colder
pretty
than
soon
colder than in New York, dude.
it is colder than Sitka, Alaska.
Yeah, well.
But we figured it's a good time to get Jake on and start talking about different fitness and nutrition items so that we can get ready for the warm weather and maybe take our shirt off and bask in the beautiful Texas sunshine and blazing heat. But for everybody who wasn't on the first episode, Jake has his business and his passion is Jake's Coaching. Has been involved with the fitness nutrition space for like 14 years, has a master's in exercise science, certificate in nutrition, and we'll put a link to his site and everything on there, but he's a friend of mine, friend of the show, and welcome, Jake.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys. I appreciate you having me back on. I'm glad the first episode went well enough to earn a second invitation.
I don't think we lived up the last time. We were all like down on, like you going into the holidays and you're down on yourself because you're going to eat and drink. And I think we dragged that negative attitude across the board. But we're all ready to hear you and get in on the springtime and looking our best.
Yeah,
Girls,
for sure.
girls for the girls.
Yeah, right. And so I think the best place to start with like post-holiday is, what does it look like now? Like, because I know everybody's kind of into their New Year's resolution a little bit. Statistically, about 80% of y'all have already quit. I don't know if that is 100% true, but statistics would tell us that by week 8 or whatever, and the New Year's resolutions, so like 80 to 90% of people have already given up. They're looking forward to 2026 for their next New Year's resolution.
Hit it hard next year.
Yeah. Next year is going to be the year. And so maybe, we can kind of start with like what to do now. Hey, maybe you've already given up. You're thinking about giving up. I kind of coined this, I don't even know what to call it, this metaphor, I guess. So I call it the Ice Age diet. And so a lot of people don't know this, but the Ice Age that froze the earth like thousands of years ago, a lot of people think that it happened in like one very cold winter, like one freezing winter froze the entire planet. When in reality, it took hundreds of years of a very, very cold winter and then a very, very mild summer. And that mild summer just didn't melt the ice. And so every winter you stack more ice. So you need to approach your fitness, your nutrition kind of similar to that Ice Age principle. There's times where you push and you're building up that ice. And then you're going to have times where it's that summer when you just need to make sure that it doesn't get so damn hot or you get so far off track that you melt all the ice, right? So you can maintain fitness and nutrition progress I don't know why I'm getting fireworks right now. Do you see that? That's weird.
I like that.
Yeah.
I thought maybe I slipped something in my water this morning.
Yeah, that was weird.
On a trip. What was fireworks? I don't see any fireworks.
Yeah, for anyone listening to this, I just had fireworks in my background.
Acid flashback.
Yeah.
So you just have to be sure that you maintain that mild summer so you don't mess up all the progress you already made. There's going to be times in your life when you push, and there's going to be times when you maintain. If you're family focused, career focused right now, we're just talking about the career stuff. It may not be a time to push. You might be very, very busy, but that also doesn't mean that it's time to give up completely and let it all go to shit. There is a middle between pushing and building up all that ice and maintaining when you're just trying to go through this mild summer. And then you can ultimately maintain your progress until you're ready to push again.
Yeah. How do we find that middle?
How do you find the middle? That's hard. It's different. It's different for everybody, right?
I mean, I know I've been through that. I'm just asking because somebody will ask you.
Oh, for
right?
sure. Yeah. So I do 15-minute like one-on-one calls with people who join my fitness group, right? So we kind of set out some fitness goals, and I usually give a lot of the same advice because most people end up in this place. Most people struggle from what's called the all or nothing mentality. So the all or nothing mentality it's exactly what it sounds like. I'm either in the gym 5 days a week or I never go to the gym. I track my food every day or I never track my food. And We don't have to live in those middles. So a lot of times it takes what's called building emotional momentum. So when you achieve a goal that you set out, and that can be strength training 1 day per week, right? Like I have a band set at home. I don't have time to go to the gym, whatever. I'm going to do a 30-minute strength training session with bands in my house, which you can find a YouTube video. There's free groups, free programming online. You keep that promise. I did my one strength training session this week, and you don't work out at all other than that, just that one day. Well, now you are becoming a person who keeps their promises to themselves, and you're becoming a person that strength trains consistently. And we can build emotional momentum by achieving that weekly. And then maybe after 2 or 3 weeks, you can add in a second day, or maybe you add in a nutrition goal on top of your one strength training session per week. And so the issue is that most people aren't willing to take the one step. They want to take 10 steps. So if you learn to take the one step, you can add what's called friction, right? So we want to have flow before we have friction. And so once we're flowing in our progress and our process goals, so process goals like getting to the gym, working out, not necessarily like what's happening on the scale. Once we're getting some flow in those process goals, we can add in some more friction. But
Some
most
consistency,
people,
right?
yeah. And most people want to add friction from the jump before there's ever any flow or consistency. And that's 100% why people fall off so quickly in the New Year's, especially.
Yeah.
And
No, I get it.
everybody wants instant gratification too, dude. You know, I went to the
that's it.
gym for a month. I didn't lose anything. So this isn't the answer. You know what I mean? I mean, even like and I know, I went to the gym, right after New Year's, and it was packed. And now it's not anymore. But like you said, man, most people have done it. They're done already.
Yeah.
First time they're really sore or whatever.
Well, just like Jake said, biting off too much. I mean,
Right.
I know even kind of semi-related, like being in the Ranger Regiment or any of these spec op units. If you talk about SEAL team or with the selection process, most of the people wash out because they're thinking about tomorrow.
Yeah.
Like it sucks in the moment, right? When you're there doing it, like in the Ranger assessment and selection, right? Huge washout rate. And it sucks, right? One day I'll do another show on it, get some people in here. But you're sitting there and people are quitting, right? They want you to quit. But if you just said, I'm going to get through this 5 minutes, or like sometimes just go take a piss and just like step back for a second and don't think too far ahead. People do the same thing with working out. They think about, oh, I'm going to do this. And then when it doesn't happen, they're like, oh, I can't do it,
Well, especially with all the
yeah.
bullshit online, I got these I got these arms in 8 weeks, you know what I mean? And it's some juice head.
Yeah.
So
a lot of people use drugs for stuff like that. And it's very, very misleading.
So your advice then is just like set attainable goal of like 1 day a week and just try and maybe eat clean. Don't go with a set like crazy ass diet from the get, and then gradually add things in.
So the easiest goals that I've set for people recently have been like one strength training session per week, like whether that's in the gym or with bands at home or whatever, and for the nutrition goal is to like do your best to get to 100 grams of protein per day. So the 100 grams of protein, in theory, is going to help you eat less anyway, because you tend to eat more high volume foods to get to that protein goal. And protein's supposed to keep you satiated longer, so it doesn't make you as hungry. And so it's supposed to balance your blood sugar levels, make you feel full longer. And so a lot of people end up eating less when they get to that 100 gram of protein per day. And with the strength training, they start to build more lean muscle, which in turn raises their metabolism, gives them more energy throughout the day. And so it's, for me as a coach, it was about finding those chain reaction goals instead of telling somebody to eat clean, because telling somebody to eat clean doesn't, in my opinion, doesn't really mean anything, right? So like telling somebody to eat healthy is a subjective advice, right? So somebody that's 400 pounds, a large pizza is probably not healthy, right? Sure. But if you are underweight, like if you have anorexia, if you're just malnourished, a large pizza is probably one of the healthiest things you can eat in this moment. You need calories. You need calories now. So by telling people to eat healthy, I've seen that in a lot of regard with, I call it the race to the bottom. I speak in a lot of metaphors, guys, so I apologize for that.
We like that.
Need
So
more
I call
fireworks.
it,
Yeah,
right.
fireworks and
Right. It's
metaphors.
like both hands up. But I call it the race to the bottom. And so basically what it is it's eating as little as you can and then doing as much cardio as you can. And what ends up happening, and the thing that reaches the bottom is your metabolism. And so what ends up happening is by eating so little and doing so much cardio, you do burn body fat, but you tend to also burn a ton of lean muscle. And so you burn body fat, muscle, and you end up losing bone density in the process. And so all of those things equate to scale weight loss. But in the long run, what you've done is you've lowered your resting metabolic rate. You've taken your energy down lower from the loss of lean muscle mass. Your bones are probably less dense. And there's another physiological process. It's called NEAT. It stands for non-exercise activity thermogenesis. And what that is exactly what I'm doing with my hands. It's just like fidgeting and blinking and moving. The conundrum of NEAT is that you can't actually raise it. Like you can't raise it intentionally, because as soon as I start doing intentional movement, it becomes exercise. So your body will fidget less if you feed it less. It's one of those things that you don't notice, but when you have less energy, your body moves less. So when people say that they have obesity that runs in their family, we have a lot of human research to show that most people's metabolisms are pretty similar in age ranges. I'm not saying like a 70-year-old and a 20-year-old, but like in age ranges amongst men and women is pretty similar. What tends to be very different is their NEAT score. So people that come from obese families fidget less, they move less throughout the day, just genetically. And people that tend to be very, very skinny, and their whole family's been skinny, tend to burn 1,000 more calories a day just from NEAT, like just from fidgeting more, moving more, whatever. So back to my original point, it's the race to the bottom, because all you can do when you lose that much muscle, and your metabolism goes that much lower, your NEAT goes that much lower, is cut more calories, right? So you're starting at eating 1,600 calories a day, and then now you're down to 1,400. Now you're not really losing weight anymore. You go down to 1,200. Well, what do? You can't keep going down. You can't, because eventually you're just running out of food. Like you just won't eat. So what do we have to do? Sometimes we got to go the other way with it. So that's what reverse dieting is. If you've heard that like common phrase for it. But essentially all we're talking about is eating enough to build lean muscle so that we can pull your metabolism back up a bit higher. And then once you have more muscle, your energy is going to go up, your NEAT score will go up, your bone density is going to get better. And then that's ultimately how we can get into a healthy cycle of dieting. So you like cut sometimes, you bulk sometimes, you can maintain all the time. You don't have to do those phases, but that is where women especially go wrong, because they're discouraged from weight training from a very young age. And a lot of men go that way as well, where they lose a ton of weight really quickly, and then they gain it all back really, really fast as well. So that's the race to the bottom of that cycle.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
I mean, there's a lot of experts out there, biohackers or whatever, that that have their podcasts that tell you right off the bat, like if you only have time to do one of two things, do the strength training over the cardio.
Yeah,
like if you're
I tell people
sucked
that
in for
too.
time. Yeah, I mean, I think now there's a lot of people on those GLP-1s for weight loss, and I see it out there. A lot of people like you were talking, that's some of the big issues, is you're basically starving yourself to death and losing a ton of muscle mass, with
Yeah.
the dosages that are given. I mean, there's some compounding pharmacies that cut that way down, so you're kind of like more slowly losing weight and not losing as much muscle.
Yeah, I mean, it's the human nature to abuse something, right? Like we do it with everything. Like, I mean,
Mike
everything
smiling.
everything had a purpose, right? Like that was a good purpose first. Like I think heroin was originally was a painkiller or something, right? Like heroin initially was something that people were supposed to use to.
Yeah.
Was that what it was? I can't remember exactly. But then people found out that if you shoot it up, it feels pretty fucking good.
Pretty good,
So,
yeah.
So they keep doing it.
Yahoo!
So yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So GLP-1s are not any different, right? Like they had a good initial purpose to help type 2 diabetics not lose their limbs, like and get their lives back on track. And they always say like, yeah, these are supposed to be used with diet and exercise, so you learn the traits to like not gain it all back. Unfortunately, in my experience, doctors are some of the worst people to ask fitness and nutrition advice to. They don't know either, right? Like, and somebody could argue with me about this, I'm sure. I don't know. But for what I understand and what I've been told, in medical school, you might take like a semester of nutrition, if that, and usually it's an elective. It's an elective. You don't even have to take it. And then they'll go to their doctor and be like, "Hey, like, what do I do with this GLP-1?" And they're like, "Well, move more, eat better," right? And like, that's not advice, right? So move more, is that lifting weights? Is that rowing, biking, Stairmaster, Zumba, CrossFit, F45? Like, there's so many workout options, right? So it's not really advice. It's just a general concept. So the GLP-1 thing is hard because it's like anything else. Some people probably did need it to get their health back on track.
Oh yeah, get back on track for sure.
Yeah. But I mean, we're people, so we abuse the shit out of it, right? Now it's $1 trillion industry, and it only sprouted in like the last 2 to 5 years.
Is that Ozempic, Jake? Is that what you look like talking
Yes.
about?
Yeah, Wegovy, Ozempic, Mounjaro.
Fucking crazy.
There's one now called Zip something. I don't know. There's gonna be more coming out soon. My biggest concerns about it is it's just so new. I just don't know. I like long-term effects. We don't know yet. There already are some people reporting stomach paralysis or digestion paralysis.
Yeah, because that's what it does. Slows down your digestive tract. So some people, it just isn't coming back. Like, does it stay like that forever? They don't know.
Right.
You
right.
know?
Yeah. I mean, we just don't know yet. They haven't been around that long.
That
doesn't mean that they're. Yeah. That doesn't mean there will be something catastrophic either. But I mean, I help people who are on them. I have a lot of clients that are on them, and I wouldn't turn somebody away. I do want them to know the right diet and exercise habits to maintain the weight loss afterwards. But it is very hard because it's very hard for them to get enough protein in without throwing up, stuff like that too. But Ozempic's not like, I mean, yes, the pharmaceutical side is pretty new, but there's been companies like Optavia that have been around for way longer, and they essentially tell you to do the same shit. Like they send you food that you have to eat. You eat like 800 calories a day.
You're starving yourself.
Right.
Yeah. They tell you not to work out, and Optavia's business model is amazing. Like their business model is fantastic. They're evil. It's an evil business model, but it's amazing business model because you lose a ton of weight by eating 800 calories a day. They tell you not to work out, at least at first. So they know that you're going to lose fat, muscle, bone density. And so you're going to have this epic transformation, right? Like they've had people lose 90 pounds in like 2 or 3 months, which is crazy.
It's crazy.
But every single person, 100% of the people I've spoken to that have done Optavia have gained all the weight back and more. 100%. I bet their weight regain rate is 80 to 90%. And that's, I mean, again, guys, that's an opinion. I've just from my experience and people I've talked to. But what do you do once you gain all the weight back?
Look,
you go right back. You get the subscription again. Now you've created a lifelong customer because
and you lost whatever muscle mass you had, and you probably weren't working out during, and now you're not working out after to try and gain anything back. So now you're just fatter.
it's like the lap band surgery. How many people do you know that have that and they gained it all back? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
A lot.
I talked to a couple this week. Yeah. Same thing. It just starts good. But then again, it always comes back to the exact thing we were talking about. If you don't learn the exercise and nutrition habits, it just doesn't matter. The example I try to use for people is if somebody knocked on your door today and said, "Hey, in the next 3 months, I can make you a multimillionaire," you would slam the fucking door in their face. You say, "Get off my porch! Get off my property!"
Right.
Obviously, you're a fake. But if somebody knocks on your door and says, "Hey, I'm selling this shot, and you're going to lose 90 pounds in the next 3 months, and there's no side effects,"
Welcome.
you keep it off forever. They welcome them inside. They make them dinner. That's their new best friend.
Yeah, I did listening to some other podcasts. I did some of the other people doing these biohacks and have these pharmacies online. They kind of had some good ideas with it because they were incorporating nutrition, they were incorporating working out, and they were like micro dosing like GLP-1s. So now you had somebody that was really hurting, like they would have had trouble getting over the hump to get started, like you said. They get them on a small dose of that, so they're losing weight way slower, and then you get them the good habits in there, and they can see results quicker. And
Right.
Mentally they're more with it. Then I could see that.
Yeah,
For sure.
And
like whatever you need.
You keep your customer longer.
Well, I mean, it's
But
it's
still,
the same thing with
if it's working, it's working. You know what I mean?
yeah, like in investment, right? You go to invest your retirement income, you want to go to somebody who's a fiduciary, so they're only making money if you're making money. And most people have no problem like paying for something. Like they'll go to Jake and he's getting them on track and they see results. Like what's there to complain about, right?
Yeah,
But
yeah,
at
for sure.
some at Optivia, you see the fast results, but I know people who've been on it and it didn't last. Like
Never does.
eventually you plateau, it's unsustainable, and they kind of try and their end game is to try bring you back into the real world. And then once you do that, it's like game over and you just gain the weight back.
What is
so
it?
there's no end game.
What is the shelf life for that shit, Ozempic? I mean, how long can you take it for?
I don't know.
I don't know.
It's a good question.
Yeah.
I'm sure they figured it out. I don't know. Like you gotta really refrigerate it. I think
Oh,
that's
really?
part
Oh,
of the
wow.
deal. Yeah. So I think it might be for a while. I'm not really sure. We had like a Ozempic or GLP-1 shortage like a month or two ago.
Yeah.
Like so many people are
After
buying
the
it that
holidays,
they, yeah, probably. Yeah, and so that you made a good point, Rich. I'm not shaming anybody for using them, right? Like it's
sure.
totally fine. Like I don't care at all. You can use GLP-1s, and if you want my help or another coach's help, that's a great thing. That's fantastic. But you need to know that there's no free lunch, right? Like there is no end all be all one single answer. There's only the habits that you consistently have forever. And that's my whole thing with the ice age, diet mentality of maybe your hard winter when you're really stacking the ice is you're using your GLP-1, you're, building the exercise, the nutrition habits, like while you're kind of expediting the weight loss. And then that summertime, maybe you don't use as much of the GLP-1 or you get off of it and you're just trying to maintain those habits and see where you can maintain being off the GLP-1 and keeping up your regular exercise nutrition habits. So I'm not against them. They're just, just like anything else, people just abuse the hell out of them. And then they're mad when it didn't create some sort of,
didn't work.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's some good benefit in like explore a lot of these peptides, right? Like I don't remember the name, but there's a lot of them that help you heal like injuries and people are having a tremendous like luck with them. Not luck, but benefit from them.
Yeah.
So I think it's
I mean,
it's there,
Weight Watchers pushes Ozempic now. It's in the commercials.
Well, there's everybody's in on selling it because
they're selling it. Yeah.
Right. You can be like a compounding pharmacy like Roe and all them and you can get a doctor to prescribe it and it's big money.
It's all about the money, man. That's the problem.
Yeah,
like
exactly,
that's why we abuse it. It's just about the money. Like that's the whole thing. And so it's hard. It's hard because it works, right? Like it's not like they're selling you snake oil. Definitely works.
Right.
For sure works, but it all comes down to money. It's only going to get stronger. Unfortunately, the way pharmaceuticals usually work is we just make them stronger and stronger and stronger until it like kills a bunch of people, and then they're like, "Well, that was probably too strong."
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah. Then they say sorry. They pay out the families, and then they back it off a bit, right? So it's
right.
you just hopefully it's not like that with this. And honestly, I don't think there is any risk of death with this at all. So maybe not exactly that. But we are worried about the stomach paralysis. There was another one as well. I know they found thyroid cancer in rats, but full disclaimer, you can't equate rats to humans. So I use that defense a lot with things like artificial sweeteners, where people will say that artificial sweeteners cause cancer, and we've never actually found that in humans. We've seen it in rats, and we've seen artificial sweeteners kill human cells in extreme quantities. Like if you took 1,000 times the amount of aspartame that's in a Diet Coke and you shot it into like a couple human cells, it killed the human cells, but like you would never drink 1,000 Diet Coke. So like it doesn't really matter.
Right.
My whole point saying that is it's actually on the Ozempic website. They did find that Ozempic caused thyroid cancer in rats. We do not know if that has any correlation to anything with humans now or in the future. So I want to put that disclaimer in there. I'm not saying that it causes cancer.
Yeah. So not wrapping that up because we got into those GLP-1s, which are way out there. So you're recommending most of these people now, it's after the holidays, just start slow, right? Get some consistency, trying one day a week. Maybe don't worry about like learning how to clean and jerk or do body weight snatches or something like that. Just Yeah.
And like Rich, you and I met at CrossFit. Like obviously, like
Yes.
I'll always have love for CrossFit. I
Yeah,
competed in
me
it for
too.
many years. I'm not currently doing CrossFit. I don't miss it, and part of
Right.
that is it's so painful, and it's not just like the workouts; it's my body, like the type of like swinging pull-ups and the snatches and the clean and jerks and the dual dumbbell devil press. You know, like all the movements like
Devil
that.
press.
Yeah, they cause back pain. You know, like all this stuff for me. Maybe not for everybody. Uh, so yeah, I don't know that I would start there. You know, again, like I feel like starting CrossFit is, you know, when you don't work out at all is one of those like all or nothing things where you're like, well, I'm going to put myself through hell, or I'm just not going to work out at all. Right. So maybe it would be better to get your feet wet at like an LA Fitness and just follow a cheap app program
Or do
for
some
a
body
month.
weight stuff,
Yeah, do
at
some body
home.
weight stuff. Yeah.
Just say,
Bands,
hey,
body weight.
I'm going to try and do 3 days a week, like what I was trying to do for a month, even though I just got sidetracked. That 30, 30, 30 for 30. 30 push-ups,
Yeah.
30 sit-ups, Mike's 11, 30 air squats for 30 days, right? And I work out, but like it would be like I forget about it, and then like I miss a day. And if you miss a day, you're supposed to start from day one, you know? And like I never got past like day 14.
Yeah.
And it was, so if you figure, say I'm going to do that twice a week and,
Right.
and then get started. But CrossFit, I think, and Jake, you've been doing it a while too. When I started, like, that must be 11, 12 years ago, I thought it was good for, and I was working out, like running a lot and lifting, but I thought for newbies, people
It's
starting, it was
extreme, bro.
good. But if,
It's too
what?
extreme. I think it's too extreme for new people.
Not, well, if you had the right coach that scaled it, like
That's
that's the
fair.
key.
Yeah.
And somebody's going to work with you. Then you roll in and like, all right, you can't do a pull up. Like, let's get you something, it might be banded, presses or something. Just get
Yeah.
something to get you started. If you don't have the right coach, you're done.
No,
You'll be like
Rich
dropping weights on your head.
Rich is absolutely right. It depends on your coach and the gym, because
Yes.
I've had shitty coaches at gyms. I've been to shitty gyms, and I've been members of shitty gyms. And if you feel that group camaraderie from even like the first day or the first week, it makes you want to go back. So it's not about the all or nothing of like the intensity of the workout. It's, hey, I have friends there. People are going to text me and ask where I am. Like I took a hiatus from the gym Rich and I go to, and it's a great gym, great coaches. I love it there. But I just, it's just time in my life. I just don't really want to be doing CrossFit right now. And, I had people from the gym, and so did my wife. They reached out to both of us. I'm like, hey, where are you guys? Like, we miss y'all.
Yeah.
Having that is something that you can't really pay for, right? Because if you pay somebody to do it, there's like some of the, like, well, they're only doing it because I'm paying them. And, like,
Right.
these are just members of the gym that just genuinely give a shit if you're taking care of yourself. And so that's something that's cool about CrossFit that you don't really find in a lot of other gym. I mean, like there are other group gyms out there, but if you have a good coach that scales for you effectively, like Rich was saying, and you find a good gym with good camaraderie, then it absolutely could be good for a beginner. But unfortunately, I've been to way more shitty gyms than I've been to good ones, so I don't know how easy it is depending on where people are listening from. Find that,
and it definitely throws some people off. Like they show up and they're in a cruddy gym and they never worked out, but they hear like CrossFit's the way to go, and then they get in there and it's a bunch of people trying to make it to the games, and they don't give a shit about anything, and they take your money and they throw you off in a corner with a freaking barbell and
right,
or a piece of PVC, like go practice doing snatches or something.
Right.
Like nobody's gonna like that.
No.
Yeah,
no, for sure.
Well, I don't know. We're getting down towards the end of our show. So I think we already hit on a couple, but what are some other misconceptions and that you hear about diet and exercise, like that people maybe throw out there or misquote, that kind of makes almost like an excuse why not to do something? Because it's super easy to do that. I do it all the time. Like, I'll wake up I've been trying to go lift in the morning, and like, this morning it was cold, so I'm like, oh, it's cold. I'm not going to go. I'll go when it warms up later. Well, it's never fucking warming up today, so that ship kind of sailed.
Gone.
Yes.
Yeah,
for sure. So I would
so
say
what do you think?
The biggest overarching one that people don't talk about enough is that it's the phrase dosage makes the poison, right? So if I were to go smoke one cigarette after this this call or whatever, right? Like I had a good time. It would be even better with a cigarette, right? So I go smoke one cigarette and I don't smoke again for the rest of my life. It probably wouldn't take 1 second off my life. But if I smoked every day, it's supposed to take like up to 15 years off your life or something like that.
Yeah.
So by the same reason, so many people are so scared to start their nutrition journey, especially, or their fitness journey. And it's because this analysis paralysis of everything you hear online. Like there's even people that are talking about coffee enemas curing cancer or coffee enemas making women fertile again, right? Like it makes absolutely no sense. No, but it's just shit you see online, right? And then you go to that page of that person on Instagram and they have 180,000 followers. Like it's 180,000 people that watch their content every day.
Yeah,
which
it's
is
crazy. And nothing cited. There's nothing backing any of it up.
Right.
It doesn't need to be cited. It just needs to sound kind of legit. I don't think I made this up. I'm pretty sure I heard this somewhere, but it's called the logical fallacy, and I can make something sound like it makes sense, and then that's enough for people to go from there. So I could say coffee enemas help you lose weight because the caffeine from the coffee absorbs through your anus better than when you drink it, and it promotes
I've been drinking
metabolism.
better.
I've been drinking coffee wrong the whole time.
Yeah, you're supposed to shove it up your ass. You didn't know?
Yeah.
And so I can logically make that sound like it makes sense. And then people just start spreading it. And that's what social media does, right? It just spreads it like wildfire. Getting a little off track. But yeah, dosage makes the poison to it, right? So people won't start their nutrition journey because they're like, well, I heard artificial sweeteners would give me cancer. So I can't have diet soda, but I love Dr. Pepper and I can't stop drinking it. You're like, well, no, diet sodas won't give you cancer, especially if you have one a day. Right. I drink a diet root beer every night with dinner. It's okay. And I'm sure there's an amount that you probably shouldn't have, but that's with anything. If you drank 1,000 cups of water a day, you would die. It's called hypernatremia. You would die. Look it up. It would kill you. And so if one cigarette won't take a second off my life and 1,000 glasses of water would kill me, then based on that same logical fallacy, I could argue, I'm like, well, shit, cigarettes sound way better for you than water. Because, again, in this dosage, water will kill you. If you chug a gallon of milk as quick as you can, you could die. I don't know what that's called, but it is, again, you look it up. It's a fact. You'll die if you drink a whole gallon of milk in like under 10 minutes or something like that. But if you drink a glass of milk with your protein shake, it's a good source of protein, vitamin D and calcium. And it can be really healthy for you. So you just got to start. You got to start doing something. That's why I tell people complexity is going to kill more goals than any bad plan ever will. So you could do a bad plan consistently. And if you're just starting out or if you're pretty new to everything, you'll probably still see results. You'll probably still see some results. It may not be as much as you could, but you probably see some results from it. But the analysis paralysis of like adding in all this, like I got to track my water, I got to track my vegetables, I got to track my micronutrients, I got to track my protein, carbs, and fat and calories, and I got to track, my meal timing and all this other stuff. All of that together is just going to equate to somebody never starting.
Yeah, you need a tracker for the tracker.
Yeah. You need I need a reminder on my phone to remind me to track all of these different things.
No,
so I got to actually set the reminders to track all the things that I need to remember.
Right.
And it's ridiculous. And so if people just start, even at like the most complex, like if people just start with strength training, 1 to 4 days a week, depending on how much time you have. If you started with a calorie goal and a protein goal, or if you just started with trying to eat a gram of protein per pound of body weight, I would say up to 200 grams. So if you weigh 400 pounds, don't eat 400 grams.
That's tough to do though.
Yeah.
Body weight is tough.
Yeah. It's tough, but that's what I'm saying is that like even if you want to give yourself 2 goals, 1 to 4 strength training sessions per day or per week, not per day, and then up 1 gram per pound of body weight, or just 100 grams. You don't even have to do the gram per pound of body weight. Just try to break 100 grams of protein per day. And if you just had those 2 goals and you did it for an entire year, I will bet you any sum of money you see results, you see progress. I would bet you anything.
Great. Cool, man. It was great having you back on. I know you were a little pressed for time, but everybody listening to this, we're going to get Jake back on, of course, because we love talking to him. But if you got any questions to ask or you want to hear him talk about anything specific, just comment on the podcast. We're going to link his website and all, in our thing. And you got to check out his reviews of these meals. If you haven't seen it already, like he'll review, which I still have got to try the naked tenders from Cane's because it looks freaking awesome. And I usually don't get them there because I hate all the fried. I mean, not that I hate it. It just makes you feel like shit after you eat it, even though they're good. And then the one you just did for Panda Express, which is wild.
Was it
that's
good,
like
good
a
or
quick
bad?
hit. Good.
No, they're great. Yeah,
Okay.
that goes back to the entire thing I was just talking about, man. Like, so I did something. It's okay if we run over a little bit. I did this thing recently where I gained 50 pounds on purpose. So I went from like 205, 210 to 255, and I did it on purpose because I wanted to bulk and see how strong I get. But really, a big driver for it was I wanted to go through a 50-pound weight loss process like my clients do. And so I think a big issue for trainers is that they are so far removed from the struggle of losing weight, they forgot how fucking hard it was and how
awesome,
how emotionally draining it is. So like my first 2 weeks, when I was cutting. So after I got to my heaviest and started cutting, I was on point every single day with my food, trained consistently, and my progress photos look basically the same.
Did you track it, Jake? Did you track like your daily diet and weigh-ins and stuff like that?
Yep. Yeah. I tracked all that stuff. And so, but yeah, after 2 weeks, like two weeks feels like an eternity when you want to, especially like I want my body back. Like I was the leanest I'd ever been in July. And I was like, you know what? I should do this in the winter. I'm not going to be taking my shirt off anyway. So might as well do this little experiment. And I had rolls on my sides and stuff that like I've never had. And it's uncomfortable to feel that way. And again, it's one of those things that trainers just forget. Like they've been fit so long, they don't remember how fucking hard it was to lose the weight. To lose the weight. And so I wanted to do that and feel it all over again because I haven't done it since I was like, I don't remember, 18 or 19 or something. And so it's been too long. So you never want to lose touch with just how hard it is for people when they're getting started. I stepped on the scale one day because I tell people all the time, scale's a jerk. It'll go up, down, side to side. It goes all over the place for a lot of reasons. But I stepped on the scale one day and I fluctuated up like a couple pounds and instantly felt sad about it. And I was like, oh, okay. Like it had been too long since I weighed myself. Or you had a good week
and you didn't lose anything. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Right.
And I wanted to feel that sadness again because it had been too long and I'd lost the connection with it. So when people tell me, they're like, oh, the scale didn't go down. You're always like, oh, it doesn't matter. It's not a big deal. But like, it is a big deal. It hurts. It emotionally hurts.
Why am I doing this? You know what I mean?
Why the fuck am I doing this? It's no point. And so, that was a big thing. And so,
how long did it take you, bro, to lose the 50?
I'm still doing it.
You still like how much did you lose?
I've lost like 15 pounds so far.
Oh, awesome.
So,
excellent.
And honestly, at the very end, if I'm the leanest I've ever been and I'm 220 or something, I'm 215 because I put on so much muscle during my like bulking time, then that's great.
Fine.
Yeah, that's great because that shows the exact thing that I'm trying to prove, that I don't need to get back down to the lowest I had been. I just need to get to the point where I'm super confident in my body and the way I look and feel.
Yeah. Well, that's excellent. Awesome, bro.
No, it's probably good too because since the last time you did that and now that you're heavily involved and, you got a degree and all this, things have changed in 14 years as far as nutrition, exercise, and you get to put all that like real world into place. So it makes it way more beneficial to your clients for sure. Yep. It's not an idea like you've done it. Like we're past this is a good idea that I had. It's like, this is what I'm doing and this is what'll work for you.
Yeah. And that's why I'm doing the meals videos that you were talking about before. Like
they're great. I love them. I yet to try them because I usually don't go to those places too much because I'm a fat slob and I'll just eat it all. But I like.
So what did you do, Jake? You went around and just planned meals over restaurants that are healthy?
Yeah. Well, they don't even have to be healthy restaurants per se. So like the two he's talking about. So one, if you go to Cane's Chicken, like the fried chicken,
I don't think they got them up north, but you
they
could
might have Zaxby's. Do you have Zaxby's? Do you have that one? I don't know.
We got tons of chicken.
Yeah, whatever. But
They're
some
chicken
places,
tenders.
some places will do a naked tender, so they'll actually just give you the grilled chicken tender without the fried stuff on it. And so at this place, Cane's, where we live, each chicken tender is like 12 grams of protein. So if you needed a quick, hey, I'm 50 grams under my protein for the day, you go buy 4 chicken strips,
And you're good.
and they
Right.
taste great. You could use like a low calorie like sauce or something for them, and get 50 grams of protein from like 4 chicken tenders, right? So most people, their issue is that they can't get to the protein goal. They're too busy. Meal prepping sucks. Like I get all that. I don't meal prep. I hate it. But and then the other place was Panda Express. You can get the grilled teriyaki chicken and white rice. And if you eat half the rice, which you don't have to, but like if you eat half the rice and you eat the grilled teriyaki chicken, it's 40 grams of protein. It's like $9. And I think it's like 455 calories if you eat half the rice.
Yeah, that's a great meal.
Hell yeah.
It's a great meal. It's just grilled teriyaki chicken and rice. And Panda Expresses are everywhere. So it's high protein, low calorie. It tastes great. And it's $9. So it's probably one of the cheapest fast food meals out there nowadays, because fast food is even expensive now. And so I'm trying to go around to these different restaurants and show you like a meal that you can get that's low calorie, high protein, not super expensive. And so it just takes out that excuse of like, yeah, I don't want to meal prep. I'm like, great, me neither. Me and my wife both had that grilled teriyaki chicken and rice last night, Panda Express, and it was within both of our macros. I'm still on track, but I didn't have to cook. I enjoyed my meal, and we hung out
40
together.
grams of protein.
Yeah, 40.
Yeah, which is crazy. Yeah, cool. Well, we'll be looking out for more of those videos for sure, and we'll put the link to all that for anybody who hasn't checked it out, and you can check out more than that on Jake's website and all. But the videos are great. So Mike, I don't know, you want to take us home?
Yeah, thanks, Jake. Thanks, Rich. And like always, we are going to say, latest, Skull.
Latest skulls. We're off.
Thanks, Jake.
All right, guys.
Thanks, Jake.